So I just recorded an interview with Patrick Ferry, which is a friend of mine. He's a coach, a realtor. Comes from a long lineage of coaches. And honestly, you should watch his videos that he has on his YouTube channel. I'll put them down in the comments down there, or in the description, so you can go to his channel and watch the full interview. But I wanted to take a couple pieces out of that interview because I think they're important. There's stuff that we talked about that I think everybody on my channel should see and my clients should see. And one of those things is the evolution of lead generation. Where did we start? Where are we at? And where might the future lead us? And in that, we talked about where we started and where we're at, and what's the value of that, and what's the draw of lead generation. Not only lead generation, but omnipresence. Omnipresence is a term that I think doesn't get used enough. A lot of people are like, game changer is a term that I can't stand because it gets used too much. The new normal after 2020 was something that I couldn't stand. Omnipresence is something that I don't think we put enough stock in, and I don't think we cover enough and really sit down and figure out what that means for each one of us individually in our business. The big thing on that is there are some massive opportunities that omnipresence gives us that I think we just are short-sighted to see. So watch this part of this excerpt of the interview, and then from there we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like afterwards. But enjoy this part, and we'll go from there.
But today we want to focus on the evolution of online lead generation here in 2023 and what's happening right now with seller online lead generation. So I'm super excited to hear what Nick has to say. So make sure you get your pen and paper ready, and let's get to work. So Nick, could you kind of walk us through a little bit about kind of where were we, where have we been, and where are we now, and what do we need to know about what's available to not only the mega agents today, but also some of the good agents who are newer to the business, but kicking some butt and have a few bucks to spend and are trying to find opportunities for more sellers.
Yeah, so it started. So we started doing this about 15 years ago, and when we had people say, "Can we get listing leads?" I'd tell them no. And then about 8 years ago is when we started seeing the prime seller leads, the home value leads. Real Geeks had a seller program. Sierra's got a seller lead valuation. Boomtown, they all have it now, right? So then we started running those into Google and into Microsoft or Bing, whatever you want to call it. So the evolution sort of started at 8 years ago, where we were able to generate those leads. But then we had a problem. Nobody knew how to talk to them. So the biggest issue we saw with our agents is, I would guess about 80% of them were like, this isn't working. And then we had 20% that were extremely successful. And kind of dug into that and asked, what's the difference? And like I just said this before we started recording, Patrick, is you still bake a cake the same way. You start with the same ingredients. It's just how you progress through that, and what little things are you adding to make your cake better than your neighbor's cake, right? Maybe making your business better than the next. And it has a lot to do with the delivery, being more of a listener than a talker. When you're talking to the leads, when you're talking to people that are doing seller leads, they have a lot of questions, right? People that are looking for homes to buy, they know how many bedrooms they want, they know what neighborhood they want to kind of be in. The seller people have a lot of questions. So being that person that they can talk to is a big thing that we've seen at that first part of evolution. As we've moved towards 2023 and through.
Yeah, I can put a stamp on that really fast. So what we saw, because even my brother was working with a geographic farm, which had a home seller program with a direct mail program, and we had a lot of thousands of agents on that program. I personally generated a couple hundred of these kind of home. Would you like to learn more about the value of your home leads? And during that window of time, I think what you're basically alluding to is when we called and said, "Are you ready to sell your home?" and we kind of came in with an aggressive, "Are you ready to sell now?" script, it completely fell apart. And or when we awkwardly brought over and delivered this elaborate CMA presentation, and they didn't really ask for it, and we kind of over delivered. Those two things kind of blew it up, and it got a negative response. And then, what happens when everybody starts saying, well, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work. But really, yeah, what you're saying is a small percentage of the agent population kind of mastered the communication and the conversion process, while the rest of the 80% of the agents who tried it out, it totally bombed. And so that's kind of what my experience was of the last, that like 2015 to 2019 window of time, right, when this was really, really hot. So, tell me a little bit more about kind of what else you're seeing now, after all of this experience, kind of what is the working and happening
so
today.
As we moved into the 2015 to 2019, it was an inventory problem where everybody wanted, we need to get listings, and there weren't the proper questions asked. Like, gone were the days of, one of the best examples I use is leaseback options. Anybody that bought or sold a home between 2008 and 2012, like I did as a consumer, I'm not an agent, I have no idea what that means. I always thought this was standard, contingent on the sale of my home, right? Everybody had the sale contingencies. Well, now they have the opposite direction. So the agents that were doing really well were having those conversations and letting them, educating people. Like, after 2020, we won't say the word because we don't want it to have bad connotations on our YouTube channels, right? But after 2020, you had a lot of people that didn't want anybody in their home, but were okay with taking kind of I'd hate to use the word bath, but taking a reduction of their price to sell their home to make sure that there was nobody going through it. So they just sold it as is cash. So that cash buyer thing, people didn't understand that. So the agent that was really being successful in listings through that evolution was listening, answering questions, and then educating and enlightening people. The person that really knocks it out of the park now, as we move from 2020 to 2023, is the person that's educating people that they've never spoken to, right? Educating people that have never filled out a form on their site, that have never engaged with them, been to their office, and where that demarc is there's one caveat: they've been to their site, they've never signed up, or you have them in your database, but that lead might be 8 to 10 years old. Now you can take all that stuff and start to do your remarketing and retargeting, and what we talk about, and you can even do stuff that we call traffic hijacking, which is legal. But going after traffic on YouTube with videos, educating people on, hey, I think you're looking to possibly buy or sell a house right now. Here's the top things to look for in your market today, May of 2023, and being up to date, because the market has done such a massive shift in the last 3 to 5 years, right? That everything has changed.
I think everybody that follows my YouTube channel will absolutely love what you just said, which is kind of what I've been hearing, which is, hey, if we become better educators and do education marketing, and then we use, Nick Kramer and the Driven Leads to do retargeting using your high education and to retarget the leads in your database, but also doing retargeting with specific traffic.
Yep.
That's going to be a massive win for us, not only in the short term with, kind of newer cold leads, but also over the long term, kind of revitalize or reinvigorating old dead leads.
Yep.
And also increasing conversion on the leads that just when they signed up, they weren't ready. Right.
Yep. Yeah. And that content can be seen on YouTube, can be seen on TikTok, it can be seen on Instagram and Facebook, and that video can be all the same, and you can show that to the same person. So there's a couple of values that come out of that, right? They start to see you everywhere. So the perceived value is that's extremely expensive when it's not. I mean, you could run all of that for less than $2,000 a month. And if you're trying to run a business, like, again, we sort of talked about this off the recording, but what if it cost you $1,400 per listing that you picked up, and you're picking up 2 listings a month, and it's costing you under $2,500 to do all that? Is it worth your while? The answer is always going to be yes, right? Because it's
100%.
Yeah, because you're not only just picking up those listings, you're enlightening an audience that could reach 60,000 people, and you're doing that, and your perceived value is people are going to start to know, like, and trust you. If you're successful in what you do right now, it's because of you. It's not because of somebody else in your office that helped you promote that. Like if you're doing this on your own, then you should be on a screen, you should be talking intelligently, answering the same questions you answer every day. One to many is what we call it. It's getting that video out once and sending it to many people. And you could send it in emails. We tell people do that email drip campaign still, send that out to, into your YouTube channel. But then at the same time, we're sending that drip through and doing that. It's kind of like, and this is something that Patrick has talked about for years, is the YouTube drip campaign, right? It's much more valuable than the email one because the open rate is 100%. Unless they're doing a premium account with YouTube, which is few and far between, they're seeing your video and you can get in front of them regardless of what they're going to consume. But that really warms them up to, if you start to do that email and say, hey, if you're looking to list, here's the 3 things you need to do first. Listers have, like homeowners have options is a video that we've had some people do, which is great because it enlightens them on, I can sell for cash, I can fix and then sell, or I can sell as is and list it, right? What's the positives and negatives to all of that? And nowadays, pretty much every agent and broker is going to be able to facilitate that all 3 of those operations, right? Helping walk somebody through that. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the option script for sellers. Funny is I learned that script back in the notice of default days in 2010 and 11. It was a very simple script, right? It was, hey, would you like to review your options? And that booked a ton of appointments with the coldest, most difficult lead in the downturn. And then as we kind of scaled through, that decade of 10 to 20, review your options. Really, most of the time, people just wanted to maximize, sales price. But, was that lipstick? Was that as is? Or was that a full remodel? But still, cash sales were still happening. And so once I kind of learned to, hey, let's just review your options. Do you want a cash offer? Do you want to sell as is? Do you want me to kind of help you put some lipstick on a pig? Or do you want me to help you remodel it to maximize sales price? And those are the options today. That's just honest. And the problem is too many agents are approaching it like there's only one option. Do 50,000 things to fix the home up and declutter it and destage it and paint it and do all the stuff so that they can get the maximum price. Not everybody's interested in that.
Right.
So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
You just watched that excerpt. Again, the full interview, I'll get you a link to the full interview on Patrick's channel. Again, like and subscribe that on his channel as well. He's got some good interviews. He's got some good insight stuff. The other thing I wanted to add after this is, what's the future of lead generation or online marketing and omnipresence look like? And I think honestly, that is kind of something that comes full circle, something that is offline and online. I think it's something, not just the QR codes, but I think it's also something that you cannot go and just throw money at a problem and find a solution. You have to be very literal with it. You have to follow through with it. You can't just say, I'm going to do this for 2 months and then it didn't work, I'm done. The long-term play for the people that are in it for the long term, for our clients that are doing a long-term play on this, are really seeing the fruits of their labor, a couple years down the road. They're successful at the beginning, but then they're really seeing that jump at the end. And a lot of that has to do with stuff that we're seeing with that omnipresence stuff that we do, all the channels, all the content, circling back and providing a value to your potential clients, people that you might not have even signed up or have in your quote database. There's going to be a time in the near future where you're going to run into your competition going out and saying, okay, I got enough traffic, or maybe I just want to do videos for the community. I want to do videos out into my entire market, into my farm, and they're doing digital farming at a higher level where they're not even forcing registration. They're not asking you to sign up for anything. They're not asking you to give anything back. They just want to enlighten you and educate you on that journey by doing what they do best and being present and having good content. There's a lot of value in that. I mean, yes, it's nice to get those leads. It's nice to get people to sign up and fill out the form, and then you chase them and do that dance. But I think in the future, there's going to be there's going to be some of these A players and people that really want to sort of flip the script and say, okay, how about I give content out for free? How about we deliver all this information, and then when they want to sign up with somebody to help them buy or sell a home, they're going to go to the one person that's helped them with everything, never asked for anything, is personable, they see them everywhere, so they're obviously really good at what they do, and that's that omni-channel presence, and that's what that does, I mean, honestly. So I think that's something really big to look at. I think that's something that everybody should think about. Always looking at what's the next year, 3, 5, 10 years look like for your business and your brand and your goals. And this has a lot to do with it. And just getting very educated on yourself on what should be done, I think is important. So again, thanks for your time. Again, like this video, subscribe if you want to see videos flow in every week. And then if you have questions, comments, or concerns, put them down in the comments. I'm open to answering. I'll answer any comments you have and take care of any questions that you have. But reach out to us if you want to know anything more about your market and your opportunities. But have a great day, and we'll see you soon.